did his undergraduation in Industrial and Production Engineering from Bengaluru University and post-graduation in IIT Madras in Industrial Management. And also he did his MBA from Karnataka State Open University with HR specialization in Uttarakhand and PhD from Avinaslingam University, Coimbatore. His proficiency courses on engineering consultancy practice and non-destructive testing from Indian Institute of Science and NPTEL online certification course on educational leadership. He has 27 years of experience in teaching, training, and consultancy, research and administration, strong communication and presentation skills, effective cooperation, and team building capabilities, and also utilize the same in a productive and effective manner for the cause of the institution. His major roles are he presently working as a principal at RV College of Engineering, Bengaluru. He has served RV College in various roles, including lecturer, senior lecturer, assistant professor, director, professor, and head of the department and vice principal. He worked as a lecturer in the Department of Industrial Engineering and Management, Dayanada Sagar College of Engineering, Bengaluru, for a period of 4.5 years. His expertise in lean manufacturing and operations management, supply chain and logistics management, e-enterprise modeling of B2B and B2C markets, simulation modeling analysis, quality management, information system design, decision sciences, applied ergonomics, systems engineering, strategic management, and allied industrial engineering and information technology. His major achievements are he guided more than 100 UG and PG projects, actively involved in research and guiding 3 research scholars under Visvesvaraya University and 1 research scholar under Jain University. He published 21 technical papers in referred journals, 70 national journals, and presented 51 technical papers in international conferences, 26 in national conference, and authored chapter in 4 books. He executed several content projects, consultancy assignments, and coordinating the projects worth more than 30 crores at the institution level since 2 years. He published a patent which titled Design and Development of Solar Hybrid Refrigeration System for Preservation of Vegetables. He also motivating faculties to undertake socially relevant research and consultancy work. He is a member of statutory committees in BTU Academic Senate member the year of 2016 to 19 and member of admissions committee for PhD in Faculty of Management Studies of BTU under the year of 2017 to 20. He is a NAC UGC expert committee member, BTU LIC committee chairman, and BTU nominee governing council of City Engineering College, and then member in FACI Higher Education Committee, institutional statutory and functional committees of college, governing body and chairman, academic council of RV College of Engineering. He has award of Performance Excellence Award from IIIE Mumbai, the year of 2016. He has the award of Dr. S.R. Polapudi Award by IIIE Mumbai at the year of 2013. Cognizant Award for Best Researcher at the year of 2014. And Citation Award from Vision Group on Science and Technology under K First. And Government of Karnataka at the year of 2014. And he obtained Certificate of Appreciation by ISTE RV College of Engineering chapter at the year 2005. He has excellence in education and recognition of excellence from RV College of Engineering multiple times. He actively works for NELE Foundation. It is an NGO and contributing to the socially deserving children. So once again, on behalf of VELAMMAL Institute of Technology, Department of Mechanical Engineering, I welcome our honorable speaker. Now, I request our honorable speaker to deliver his valuable lecture to the participants. Welcome, sir.
I will wait for 2 minutes over here. Okay. So here we have.
Are you able to share the slides?
Sir, it's visible, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay. So thank you for a nice introduction. Thanks, Murthy, actually my friend for a long time, who has given the opportunity to share my thoughts in this online platform. Uh, So let me tell some things about the direct and the indirect assessments of student learning. In fact, before going to that particular area, I thought let me do some environmental scanning, which in order to meet the needs of the industry and the society. Because generally assessment and evaluation is the last stage in while you are evaluating a student. But you are supposed to create a lot of ecosystem, learning from the environment and also building your own system in the institution. So when once you do that, automatically assessment and other things are going to follow and it's going to become very easy. But in order to know that, whenever you're formatting a syllabus, moving into outcome-based education, having a good assessment and evaluation system, we know exactly what we are supposed to teach our students and what they are supposed to learn. So we are supposed to be in sync with the industries and try to find out what is happening in and around the world. Then only our education becomes more meaningful and purposeful. So if in order to meet the needs, so today people are supposed to know about the education 4.0, which generally encourages people to have self-directed learning and accelerated remote learnings, then access differently. So it totally talks about the digitization of the whole education system, anywhere, anytime kind of a concept which we are doing now as a part of pandemic. Then do we know what are the 21st century skills which are needed for an engineer? So it's on critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration are the 4 C's. In fact, why I'm showing this slide is typically to inform you that if you don't assess a student based on these parameters, he'll not be employable. So when once we know this, we can go back to, like, say, industry 4.0 again expects the digitalization in industries, just like education 4.0. And there's a lot of IoT layer above all the existing industries of the manufacturing sectors. So by knowing these three, which are very, very important for the present creation of the syllabus, of course, we know about the program outcomes under NBA. Now our job would be to map all these things where exactly it's going to fit in the program outcomes. If we can do that, this is the first job we are supposed to do it. When you are talking about when you are talking about the overall outcome-based education system, I hope many of the institutions in the country or looking into these kinds of environmental scanning, what is happening in the industry and the society, and try to provide opportunity for our students to learn in the form of education or in the form of the outcomes. After 4 years, he should be in a position to do all these things, because why this slide becomes very important is that we have assessment. When you are assessing the students, are you assessing for his critical thinking? Are we assessing for the creativity in him? Are we assessing whether he is communicative or not? Or can he take up the individual work as well as the teamwork? Are we checking all these things through our assessment, or is it only technical skills, writing a course and writing a test and a quiz, and they are giving the marks? So that is not expected. That's why people in industry say that many students are not employable. So first thing is you have to get connected to these things, whatever is happening in the industry 4.0, 21st century skills which are needed, and also education 4.0. And how can you connect this to the program outcomes becomes a challenging exercise, wherein every faculty in their courses should start doing this. As you know, if we little bit elaborate on the 21st century skills expected by the industries, is critical thinking, as I've already shown the 4 C's you are supposed to know. That is the total skills which you are supposed to know for the learning skills. If you want to learn some things, you need critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, the communication. But apart from that, it is felt that engineers of today, they are lacking in some of the things like the literary skills. It may be due to your, let us say, the mobile, or could be internet, or could be the other ways of communication which has come. People are not very, very serious about the literary skills. Either how to write a good letter today, how to write a good essay writing is also a very, very important thing. So how can you use technology for your enhancing your literary skills? So please look into these slides, because you can go back to your syllabus and see where we are teaching students about all these things is the one which you have to always look at. Then your assessment becomes easier. Otherwise, it will be a rote learning, memory-based education, and your assessment will also be only based on the memory-based education of the student. So slowly we have to come out of that if you want our assessment to be very, very effective. Then other life skills which is needed for him when once he go for a job, he becomes an entrepreneur, he goes for higher studies, he starts any kind of a venture, he is supposed to be flexible, he should have good leadership qualities, he should have a good initiator, and then he should know how to get things done from the people in a productive manner. And also man is a social being, so he should also try to sell up the take the social skills. Social skills means it's not just the social media skills. Social skills means getting also connected with the people offline, not just the online. So these skills are expected out of an engineer in this century. And are we tuning our students to this? Please look back, go back to your syllabus and look into it, whether all these skills are provided or not. If we are not providing, then our students are going to face a lot of problem in the coming years. So this is the environmental scanning you are supposed to know. Without knowing this, in many of the places, if you try to set the syllabus, it will be only inward looking. It will not be outward looking. So when all these needs of the society and the industry are met, I'm sure all of us are in the process of outcome-based education for quite some time. Many institutions are more than a decade they are doing, but many other institutions are also work in process. So outcome-based education, of course, is the need of the hour. The word outcome is very important because we have output with us, but outcome is the one which we are expecting from the younger generation. So go back and look into, are we really providing the outcome-based education? Is the first question we have to ask. Then, is our curriculum outcome-based? If I given a live problem in the industry, of the industry or the society, does our students can solve such problems or not? So have we put that as a part of the curriculum? And how exactly are supposed to achieve the outcome? Have we looked into it? Then outcome-based learning and teaching. This is very, very important. Teaching is the student, faculty part of it. Learning is the student part of it. If these two happen, then only we can say teaching learning process has been very good. And then finally, how you are going to measure whether what all things we have learned or not is through the assessment. We have been doing assessment for a long time, but it may not be outcome-based assessment. Whatever we feel correct, we might have evaluated such students. So keep this in framework in mind when you are starting from the education till the assessment is the overall outcome-based education system. Of course, whole of our assessment and evaluation is generally based on the lower order skills only, memorizing, understanding and applying. But in very few cases, we find students have the higher order skills. Maybe sometimes in some courses like projects and things of that sort, we may evaluate, but I cannot even guarantee whether we are evaluating all the 6 phases or not. So obviously, if your student has to, your assessment has to be very good, it should be based on this only, whether he has developed a lower order skills or the higher order skills. So he should be in a position to create his own product, own process, own system. Is our system allowing that or not is another question. But as a teacher, are we looking into building the higher order skills in the students through our curriculum and the assessment? Is the one, every one of us in this seminar have to introspect. If we are not doing, you need not to worry, but you can start doing it so that our students in the coming batches will be very much beneficial. I am sure outcome-based education, Bloom's taxonomy, is almost become common in majority of the institutions in the country. But what I feel is that people give a question, a level 1 question, and they say map it to level 4. I think this is where faculty have to clearly know that how exactly these mappings have to be done against the Bloom's taxonomy levels. So first 3 levels is only lower order skills, which may be needed initially for people to work and also in the shop floors or maybe the short term. But if you develop a higher order skills, today market has been very huge and such people will make a lot of money. If they got very good higher order skills, they can develop new products, new process, new systems. So that is how it is going to be helpful to the industry as well as to the society. So you did the environmental scanning and you did the outcome-based education. And what is expected? What are the outcomes you expect out of an outcome-based education? So students are expected to be able to do more challenging tasks. Are they really doing is very, very important. So please remember whatever has been put in the red are very, very important in order to achieve Industry 4.0 or 21st century skills or things of that sort. So memory-based education should slowly go away. I think that is what is the expectation. Then students should be able to execute projects and analyze case studies. So how many of our students can take up a large scale problem and try to solve it and present it correctly? So obviously they should show their abilities to think, question, research and make decisions based on the findings. So if some percentage of students may be there in every college, but this should percolate to all the students. When once he does a project, he should be in a position to answer all the questions whatever is asked in the beginning. And of course, whoever reads that, whoever uses that, they should be in a position to make the better decisions. I think at any kind of a project, at the end of the day, decision making becomes very important. Then be more creative, able to analyze and synthesize the information. Are we creative? Because our the out of the box thinking has to be built either from the childhood, or if somebody has not learned in the form of a childhood, afterwards also you can try to develop that and make them more creative. Today, whole society is looking at people who have creativity, then able to plan and organize the tasks. So how is he good in managing the things, managing the self, managing with the other members? All those things becomes very, very important, and these are the outcomes which is expected apart from being an entrepreneurial person. How many of our students want to become an entrepreneur or start on their own? If you ask them, I think majority will say they are looking for only job. But an outcome-based education expects when once you go inside the company also, you are an entrepreneur. Even within the company, you definitely need entrepreneurship skills there so that their products are good, their services are good, and also you can get the patent as one of the outcomes of the outcome-based education. I hope these slides are making some sense to you, because without all these things, if you do assessment, according to me, there is no way we can do it, and it will not be helpful to the students. So try to measure a student, assess a student, whether he knows all these things is the central part of our whole area. When once you know all those things, obviously you also have to match with your institutions. So if you start from designing stage, you map all the things with the vision, the mission of your institution, what exactly you want to do after 25 years. Then Through that, we can try to find out what are the program education objectives. Then the program outcomes. I'm sure people who have gone for NDA know about this terminology very well. So then program outcome is derived out of all the courses outcome, and then finally you decide about what are the courses which could be done. So this chart is comparing what all things which are needed in outcome-based education and exactly you are going to implement in your organizations, individual institution. This is the mapping. In fact, the design always becomes the top-down, implementation becomes the down-top. Every faculty have to contribute, every staff has to contribute so that the course and the course outcomes are decided. Then the next level of people can look into the program outcomes. Next level, when once they pass out of the institution and then the scholar, when once they pass out of the institution after working for 3 to 4 years, you can see whether whatever he has studied has been helpful to him in organizations or not. And of course, this has to match with whatever vision and the mission each institution has. So we have seen what is the industries and the society need, and we have seen what is outcome-based education. I will go into a little bit more detail actually now. In the outcome-based education, again, the content, the course is there. Faculty is going to teach the course. But is it conceptual? Is it practical? Is it skill-based? Or very, very important things we are supposed to know. So now let us try to spend experiential learning, which is very, very important. In fact, whole of your assessment and evaluation should be based on this experiential learning. If you don't make this as a part, I'm sure that whole of the result, whatever you get, may not be helpful to the individual students. So let us look into what is this experiential learning all about. Whole of our education system, as you know, is a one-way communication for a long time. Maybe at least after our independence, all of us are doing the same way. In fact, the way I'm teaching, I'm explaining to you now is a one-way communication. So, but students in the class, they're all of very heterogeneous type. They're from different states, different cultures. They're from a rural area, urban area, semi-urban area, girl and a boy. You can look into any kind of a classification. So without even understanding what each person needs, I think we have only one way of explaining to the students, that is the one-way communication. So now please think over. If you want your assessments to be right, evaluation to be right, can you classify the learners in terms of sensing and intuitive learners? See, sensing learners are those wherein they like learning facts, then dislike complications and surprises. So they don't expect any shocks or the risks. Then patient with the details and good at memorization. So maybe level 1 of the Bloom's taxonomy, they're all very good at. Then they are practical. These are sensing learners. Intuitive learners like to discover possibilities, tend to work faster, better at grasping new concepts. And in fact, this lot is very important for your innovation, startup, incubation. Have we classified based on these things? I don't think we have done it. So even though in the class we do only one-way communication, it still doesn't matter according to me. If you can try to put a experiential learning mode, at least do the project group based on this, do the assignments group based on this type of learning, then their learning is much better. A person who is very, very good in the conceptual things, ask him to assemble some part, he may not be knowing. A person who does a assembly of parts very well, he may not be good in remembering some things. So that is the way things happen. Then the other one is the visual and the verbal. Better remember what they see. So visualization today is very, very important and even easy also when you talk about the technology development. So he likes pictures, diagrams, films and demonstrations. I am sure even being the teachers, we also come under any one of this category. For some people, no, they learn from practice to theory. Some people learn from theory to practice. Both the cases are there even with the faculty members. So then verbal learners are those best remembered words, written and spoken explanations, they're all very good. Next one is active learners and reflective learners. Active learners are those wherein by doing something active with it, then let us try it out and see how it works. So they're all basically experimental type. Somebody want a skill development to be developed, they want experimental. You find out such students, I'm sure in every class, such students will be there. Some fellow is very good in doing experimentation. They're all basically active learners. The reflective learners are those, let us think through first. So these people are more on the planning, table work, things of that sort. So they want to reflective learners, top students in many of the places. Top students in many of the places, they're working alone. Actually, they may not mix, they may not be a good team workers, but whatever they learn, the thinking process is very good in them. They're all called as reflective learners. Similarly, sequential learner. I think many of us are sequential only. We want everything correctly. I need a textbook. I need some assignment questions. I need solutions manual for that. Everything we need in advance if you want to do it. So sequentially, one after the other, you want to do everything. But there are some people who are very global in nature. Very quickly, they will observe things randomly. I'm sure even among faculty and the students, you have found in every organization, every institution, that there are a lot of people who come under various of these categories. So now what happens is, can you classify students under this category is very important. Of course, each student can be a combination of an active learner and a global learner or a reflective learner or a sequential learner. It is possible. But at least try to find out from the students what level they are into and give the work related to them. Such, let us say, for some person is very good in skill based, no, his projects, whatever activities does, if you give him the skill based, no, he will do very well. Somebody is conceptually very strong, ask them to do good research based learning, then it is even helpful for the institutions also. So like this is the first step according to me. Assessment will be the last portion, as you know, and I'll be covering as well assessment after some time. But I'm more interested in when you want to assess the students, I think these prerequisites have to be there, and this you're supposed to follow. So that's about the things. And of course, other ways of the experiential learning are generally through your digital learning, which is very, very common. I suppose we are doing in Zoom now. So there are a lot of online conduction tools like GoToMeet, Cisco WebEx. Then learning management tools are also there. Then we have screen recorders for Camp Studio and things of that sort. Teaching tools like Jeopardy Labs, TEDx, Flickrs, YouTube are all available. And assessment tools are also there. Google Forums, Moodle, QuickFlow, Socrative, and QuickLearn. These are the assessment tools. So I can have a jigsaw puzzle of all these things when I talk about digital learning, which is also very, very important, because what has to be taught online, what has to be taught online, what should be in the hybrid mode, which tool is more suitable is also very, very important for the teaching learning process. If you don't do that, then it is going to become very difficult. In fact, if you don't switch out to digital kind of a learning, let me tell you, our students are going to face problem in terms of taking GATE examination, which is online in nature, GRE, TOEFL, which are online in nature. So let that they all get used to such kinds of a thing, so that their future would be certain, and they can settle at a faster pace. So again, when you talk about the experiential learning, what student is supposed to learn? So can you look into the kind of video lectures, for example? If you take a video lecture, in fact, it is less collaborative, but passive kind of a thing. You just listen. I'm sure all of you would be listening to YouTube video lectures sometimes, and you will switch on that and do something else also, because it is not collaborative. You are not talking to other person, and it is passive. It's passive kind of a thing. Like this, based on the type of courses what each faculty is handling, you see where things have to be put and what are the points to be taken into consideration. So this graph is going to be helpful to you for a better teaching learning based on the whatever course you are teaching. Then, as I already told you, the most important thing we are supposed to know when you are assessing, we generally do disciplinary wise. So you come from down top. All of us are electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, electronics engineer. We are separate. We always want to be separate. We find my branch is better than your branch. But in reality, there is nothing like that. Next would be the multidisciplinary. I'm sure we do addition in the multidisciplinary approach. Let us say somebody is teaching IPR. Who is teaching IPR in a particular college? Is it a lawyer? Is it a lawyer and a technologist? Or it's only technologist who is teaching? Who is teaching? So generally, all these humanities and social science subjects, whatever government advocates us to do it, we make it as additive, but we don't learn from that and apply to the other course. So that's the meaning of additive. But when it becomes interactive or interdisciplinary, then automatically you will try to get connected with everybody, and things are going to become very easy even for the implementation. And at the highest level, you have transdisciplinary. Any societal problem, if you take, it is all transdisciplinary in nature. In the sense, a waste disposal in a city, or could be election, or could be water problem solving, anything you take, all these are higher level synthesis which happens, and it is a transdisciplinary. Transdisciplinary in the sense what? There is people from education, from fisheries, from revenue department, from let us say environmental group, from the PMO's office. You can't say who is there in that committee, very difficult. So every social kind of a problem would be transdisciplinary in nature. So are we really helping our students to learn in this way? I am sure majority of the institutions, we are still under the lowest level of disciplinary nature. I'm an electrical engineer. Why should I study mechanical? A mechanical engineer, why should I study coding? Anyway, I'm not doing for coding job. So these are the kinds of things we are operating into, but the new education policy has clearly indicated that multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary nature of activities is very, very, very important. We hope that we try to build this culture among the students. Next, you look into course outcomes, is not course outcomes. So it is typically experiential learning. My focus is only on experiential learning because this is going to add a lot of value to your assessment. If you do this correctly, then your assessment is also very, very important. When you give a job to a student apart from your teaching, so obviously the student is supposed to get a very good concrete experience he is supposed to get. And then his reflective observations should be very, very quick. You see a child learns everything by itself. It identifies color, it learns alphabets, it sees the nature and knows how to differentiate. It differentiates mother with other people. See, reflective observation is one thing which you have to teach in the education system. By and large, this step is missing in many of the places. And then abstract conceptualization. How can you do the conceptualization of the abstract things, whatever you have? If you don't do that, then things are going to become again very difficult. And finally, whatever you do it, you are supposed to do the experimentation part of it. 1 minute. I thought missing. Yes. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಿಗ್ತೀನಿ ಇಷ್ಟ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗ್ತಾರ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗ್ತಾರ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಬಂದು ಓಕೆ So whatever the kind of things you have the experience, at the end of the day, doing is believing, seeing is believing. So experimentation, either through simulation or physical experimentation, is very, very important. I'm sure in engineering education, this part is missing. He comes for the lab. I'll give an example, metal testing lab. A student comes to metal testing lab. What he does in a UTM, I don't know, in many colleges, he is not allowed to even touch that machine. One instructor will give the reading, he will do a stress strain graph, either for a tension or a compression. That is not experimentation. First, we should have that out of fear. We should, you always feel that if it gives to the student, he is going to spoil it. No, actually, that itself is wrong according to me. You just give him the proper guidance. I don't think they are going to spoil. So this part is very important. That's why our students are not employable. So if you want to do this kind of a learning, experiential learning with experimentation is very, very important. Of course, looking into the experiential part, I am sure that the assessment has to be done by the students. What are the ways of assessment you have in your each organization? What are the ways we do it for them? So can you have these kinds of activities as a part of your course? Don't tell I am under affiliated system, the marks is very less and things of that sort. Within the available things, whatever is there, if you are an autonomous institution or a university, you have more flexibility. But even in affiliated system, if you want, you can try to do it. So are you having any experiential learning activity which fosters community service, encourage independence for a student, stirring students' imagination? Can he does that? So what are the ways you can do? The first preliminary kit would be test and quizzes. Anyway, we are doing this for decades. Fine. So then is the seminar. Can a student give a seminar? Do you think all the students have to give only seminars? Need not be. You can go based on the learning styles of a student and then try to look into whether he can give seminar, or he can do he can solve a mind-boggling problem, or he can also collect the seminar in a video. Why you have to sit for 100 students for 3 hours? IIT Guwahati, I've already started in our college also. Last year we have started that any seminar recording has to be done by a student, and then faculty can see that whenever he needs it. So then you allot marks for that. then your assessment becomes easier. See, in this what's happening is when you ask a student to do through a video, no, see, he is learning a lot of other skills also. He is learning technology, then he is knowing now, if he doesn't know how to talk correctly, he knows that it goes in a video. He'll put effort, he'll prepare the scripting for that, and then he neatly dresses and sits in front of the camera. See, there's a natural learning, many of these things. So this experiential learning, through a combination of these things, are very, very important. Then in each course, can a student group can develop an innovative experiment? You ask them to do it and give assignment marks for that. Then industrial visits. Generally, industrial visits, we take it as one picnic kind of a thing. But can I make it officialized and ask a student to report on the industrial visit? Ask him to visit 3 to 5 industries and then give a report. There's a lot of learning which happens to the student. Industrial tour. Whole one. In fact, the whole life skills are learned within 1 week or 10 days industrial tour. They'll know each other very well. So these are the things I think even people are expecting in industries, working in a team, then working under uncertainty, working with less of resources is what is expected, and you can learn through an industrial tour. Similarly, you call for an expert lecture, like let us say, for example, I am giving a lecture now. Assume you are all students. What you are supposed to do in an expert lecture? At the end of the lecture, prepare 5 to 10 questions related to the lecture and ask the students to answer the questions. Automatically your quiz is done. Why you want a separate timetable for the quiz, I am not understanding. So now what happens? Our problem now is you ask for an expert lecture, the students don't attend. So that is a complaint in many places. Now what can be done? You say that this is a part of your academics, part of your experiential learning, and then try to say there will be a quiz after this, which I am going to consider for 5 marks. Automatically see the attendance, they will automatically go. So you should have both a carrot and a stick for the students. Or well, simply in the routine way of doing it, they may not like it, and we also face a problem. Reading a book has become a problem nowadays actually. So can you ask a student, I think I'll come back to this, I will show you where the reading the books, yeah, let us say, these are some of the books you can always look into. I don't know how many of the faculty would have read all these books. Made in Japan is written by Akio Morita. It's a story of Sony, and starting from the history of Japan till the 5th generation computers, he explains. So can you give for 2 to 3 students, ask them to read a book and ask them to come and explain about this book. So you can take all the business books, the science books and the things of that sort, so that you'll also be developing a reading habit in student. And this is an experiential learning, which is called the literary skill, and reading the book is a skill. He can learn all these things. So like this Future Shock by Alvin Toffler, Goal, these are all the business books. Jack Welch, the owner of, the CEO of General Electric, he has written a book called Winning. Beautiful, all the business strategies, everything is provided. Lee Iacocca is called as a manager of the 21st century, and he was working in Ford, and he joined Chrysler and turned the turnaround strategy used to convert Chrysler into a very good company. Roads Ahead by Bill Gates, Art of War by Sun Tzu. Things like In Search of Excellence, The Toyota Way, Peter Drucker's Professional Management. I have given only management books. Like this, there are science, maths, liberal education, all the kinds of books are available. So can you ask your student to study a book and you give 5 to 10 marks on that? What we are going to lose, I am not understanding. So we can always do that exercise of reading a book and presenting to his classmates. So his communication improves, his thought process improves. So this is the natural learning we are supposed to expect. So then a case study, you give a case study, ask him to do it. Similarly, I have in fact listed 50 of it. So based on the type of course, out of 50 whatever I have listed, you can in fact take things like 10 you take specific to your course. You give all these 10 to the students and then say out of this, let them select 3 and they let them do their assignment. Experiential learning happens. Whatever the assignment marks you have, you can give it to them. Your assessment becomes easy now. Otherwise, finally, we are struggling for assessment and evaluation because there's no proper learning and the tracking of the learning we are doing it. So we should try to follow different kinds of thinking. Let's say design thinking is another new exercise people follow. Mini projects, industrial problem solving. Ask the industry people. Ask them to give smaller problems in your course only. Each faculty has to do this. Generally, we think all these things are only for doing a project. when it comes to the third year or final year project. It need not be. Starting from first year only, you can ask the people to do things. Then survey on a specific course. If there is a survey, let us say 5G technologies, some faculty in telecommunication is teaching 5G technologies. You want to know when 5G is going to come, what is the implications of 5G, what are the challenges and opportunities. Ask students to make a survey and ask the general public and the expert. You will get a very good result out of that. Then you can also organize a debate. When you have a controversial topics in any management and arts kind of a situation, you can also ask a debate. Could be done and you can assign marks to them. So what happens? If you have 60 students, if you can segregate all these things to the based on their interest, ask them to select, no? So you are pursuing his passion as well as he is also learning a subject in a better way. Then role play. These are all very common in many of the places. In fact, schools are doing definitely better in many of these areas. Then you can have group discussions, then writing a journal paper or a paper presentation in conferences, developing additional content. You are teaching one course, give a for group of people, let them find out the latest things. It will be helpful to even the teachers also. Then researching on a topic and doing a literature survey is another way we can ask students to do it. Similarly, participating in technical symposium and reporting, NPTEL and MOOC courses, anyway we are doing it. Writing a white paper on new technologies. If people don't know what the white paper means, it's not like your journal paper. It's not like your report. White paper is entirely different. It needs a different perception, and students are going to learn that. Then concept mapping for cognitive abilities. Then demonstration kind of an exercise. This is similar to your presentation only, but it could be offline, online, or through your innovative ways. Essays are extended. In fact, people have forgotten written communication. You can ask them to write an essay on a particular topic. Then virtual experimentation. People are looking for virtual labs today. Can you ask any of your course, whatever you are handling, let them design virtual experiments, give marks to them. Please be liberal while you are coming to this, but also try to extract work from them. Then coding using Python or programming for relevant of today, whether you eat or not, chips is known to you or not, Python and R programming is very important. So any kind of a sector, any kind of a business, the super layer, people are using all those things. So are your students in civil engineering, let us say, know how to do Python programming, how to do R programming? So please try to develop these skills on a natural basis. Then MATLAB, of course, any of the software tools could be used course-wise and try to give a lot of experimentations for them. And then sectoral studies. Generally, engineers are very, very weak in the sectoral studies, like say telecom sector, aerospace sector, agricultural sector, economic sector, manufacturing sector, small industries, big industries. You ask them, they will not have any idea. Related to your business, somebody is teaching, let us say, RF and microwave, and you are trying to develop some frequency radars. So find out what all those business sectors in that. Ask people to study in that. It is helpful for their learning. They will know what is happening in the industry. It will be helpful for a company when he goes for an interview. So it will be a win-win situation for these people when we start looking into these things. Then group of students writing a book. Have you ever thought that why can't a group of students write a book on a particular course? You give good marks for him, and you can also become an author along with a student. It is possible. In a related courses, don't think I'm telling this as a extracurricular activities. I am telling you as a part of the your academics itself, all these things could be done. I'll give an example. I had a 2-credit course called Intelligent Transport Systems. So in this, what we did is we took only 1 week class in that particular subject, and we gave the topics to the students. There were almost around 60 students. We gave 15 topics, and each person is supposed to do a particular work assigned to him. Whether he goes to the traffic manager, he goes to the traffic police station, or he sits somewhere in the library, we don't know. He can use any kind of a thing, and he's supposed to write it. And I did this exercise for 2 years with almost around 30 batches. You know, I got a MS Word 12 font size study material for almost around 3,000 pages I got. Now what I did, I made a total use of this, converted into principles, practice, case studies, and I wrote a monograph. after 2 years of exercise. It is possible. So now what's happening is we are giving assignments at the end of the semester. You give marks and that assignment will go to some Almera. That's all. Nothing is done out of that. Can you also, as a teacher, can you take something out of a student? You have to work in the beginning in a better way, giving some focused topics. Then you can make it as a monograph. You can make it as a review book. Let him also be author along with you. So natural process of learning of experience is going to have a lot of value. Poster presentations can be done, product development can be done, open-ended experiments can be done, project exhibitions if students participate. Please try to value that. Then can you ask a student to write a handbook? IEEE standards are there for VLS and embedded system. Can you ask, based on our syllabus, prepare a handbook? It is possible. Course-wise standards are available now. So you can always look into that. Then can you send your student and ask you to interview a CEO? Very good exercise. Let us say you have somebody is working in autonomous vehicles, okay, or a driverless vehicle. Can you interview Elon Musk and publish a report? I think that will give more information according to me. So can he interview a subject matter expert and then he report it to you as a report structure? You can assign marks to that. See, these are all the experience or learning as a natural process. We have tried to look into it. Then can you ask him, because some courses are good, some courses are people feel very boring. Can you ask your students to prepare for your course, how to motivate for a course? You just give it to the students and find out how beautifully they get the answers for you. Then survey on startups in a course. Can you have, let us say somebody is teaching a course on robotics. You can ask some group of students to have find out the startups where the robotics are made, what kinds of robots they are made. Let them do a survey, submit a report to you. It will be very beautiful according to me. Then are you giving anything if your student writes an article in a newspaper or relevant magazines? You can consider it as an assignment. I think some point of time they were telling sky is the limit, but today they say sky is not the limit. The kind of experiential learning which we can provide for the student is much more than what we think. Preparation of brochures, pamphlets, course-wise. Can your student motivate it in a course for the next junior? Then can he prepare charts, photos, diagrams, paintings can he make? Viva was on topics in a course. Professional association activities, can you become a part of the course? It is possible. Then short internships, course related, can we do it? Internship and project means is not only third year and final year. You can always look into having these kinds of things even from starting from first year itself. TEDx talks. Beautiful. It will be very good. He gets motivated to do better. Peer mentoring. Are we using students? The senior students to teach for a junior. Give credit to both the students. Automatically they will teach. Then of course, ideathons, hackathons, course-wise if you can do it. Not general hackathons and hackathons. You can do a course-wise hackathon for your students. Ask them to have the best ideas, report it to them. Considered as an experiential learning, virtual internships, and any other innovative ways of learning. So I think this personally, I have sat and listed all these 50, 49 plus any other would be the 50, and I have found we have started practicing these things in our college. I find student learning is much better than the rote learning. It's only in the minds of the faculty. We should come out of some honest, strong beliefs and try to see that if you try to provide better opportunities for experiential learning, you need not have to teach more according to me. Now what has happened is we are teaching more for 50 hours. What 50 hours student is doing, nothing is doing. So can you reduce your teaching methods to 20 hours and then make 30 hours students work even in the class itself, apart from the other assignments, whatever I'm talking about. So these are typically the kinds of say the experiential learning techniques which you can make use of course-wise. Out of this 50, all the 50 cannot be done. In each course, take 5 to 6, whatever is relevant to you. Put a list. Let the student select 3 out of these things, out of 6 or 10. Then he will do the best in that. Why I am telling all those things to you is that we always struggle when we go for MBA to find out this mapping. PO to CO mapping, then CO to your topic level mapping, then looking into your attainment of a student. These are the post-mortem report. We are not in a position to do that mapping correctly because we are not following many of these methods when we are teaching. Teaching and learning becomes crux according to me if you want your assessment and evaluation to be right. But many times we find that it is not right. Fine. I hope I made a sense here. And I don't know who all the faculty structure who are here. Since it is online, I am not having that notice what all the kinds of people are here. But whatever could be the kind of people, I feel we are supposed to move in this direction. If you want to work with the generation Z, Gen Z people. Otherwise, a rote learning alone doing it, people will not come to us. Today's student, if he doesn't like something, he's ready to even leave the course itself. He's leaving the college. He doesn't matter. So, being the faculty members, we have to be very, very careful and creative and try to provide an opportunity for a better learning environment for the students. So, I am sure I made the 50% of my talk now. I am very, very happy. If you are doing these things, automatically don't worry about your assessment according to me. Because we spend most of the time on examination, invigilation, then valuing the blue books. But at the end of the day, learning might not have happened correctly. Some percentage of people might have learned. So in your learning process, are you having this mapping for the 3 years or 4 years? Second, we have followed this mapping in our college, a project-based learning. In the second year, he has got design thinking for 2 credits. Same thing he can continue in the next year for 3 credits. Same thing again he can continue for 16 credits in the 8th semester, which is full project. Then by this time, I'm sure some product would have come out of product process or a system. Then you can also incubate him for 2 to 3 years. Then he can do a startup. This mapping, this kind of a path, if you set for a student, we will get more entrepreneurs. Otherwise, simply teaching only entrepreneurship subject 1 and asking to become an entrepreneur is not possible. So this path has to be followed by us. And can you have virtual labs? We are a member of NITK Suratkal. We are a part of with that. There are a lot of things which are available already. So are we making use of such services in the virtual lab or design thinking? I've already told you. And finally coming to this making, how to make him as an entrepreneur is another path which you have to set into. See, there are three to four paths. The first path is the employment. The second path is the higher studies. And the third part is the startups. So a whole of our syllabus is mapping with all these things or not, please try to check it. If that is not done, obviously until these things are correctly implemented, we will be still struggling only for assessment and evaluation. We may not be evaluating a student correctly. So I've already told about these books. So that's it. So I hope I make some things like how the experiential learning should become a part of the whole of the education system. When once you do this, then our education system will do very well and our students will also enjoy in a better way. So let me take 2 minutes break here. And are there any questions in the chat box? I would like to verify. Yeah. Ilva? Okay, so as of now, there are no questions in the chat box. I found out. I'll take 2 minutes break and have water, and then I'll continue. Meanwhile, if you have got some questions, you can actually put it in the chat box so that we can answer.
Sir?
Yes, tell me.
Sir, time is not a constraint, sir. You can extend for another 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes.
No problem. No, I will do it. Still something is there. I have to do it.
Yes,
anyway.
sir. Yes, sir. Because everything is very important to us.
Yeah. Sure. I will do it. Don't worry.
Okay, sir.
I will not leave just like that.
Yes, sir. That is what we are looking for. It is one of the prestigious institutions we are taking the inputs.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Okay.
participants, if you have any queries, you can type it in the chat box so that we can get inputs from Professor Subramanya sir.
Okay, so let me continue. So now we saw what are the experiential things we are supposed to do and what are the environmental scanning information we are supposed to have. So next what happens is you are supposed to do the curriculum design. So how do you do this curriculum design? So as you know that we do the curriculum design based on something like, say, you have your curriculum framework, you do it, then based on the requirements of the statutory bodies, you have the combined BOS you conduct, and then you try to map with the vision, mission, POs, PSOs, whatnot, and then you try to take the feedback from the faculty, management, industries, parents, alumni, professional societies. You do all these things, and the program committee, program coordination committee or academic advisory committee will sit, and then they frame the whole of the curriculum. Then again it goes for the approval of the BOS. BOS is going to tell some information, go back and try to fine tune it, and then the scheme is approved, and then it goes to the academic council, and of course for syllabus BOS is very important, but the final approval has to be got to the academic council, and then the scheme is implemented. So when we are doing all those things, the very important thing could be putting all the things whatever I have told. If you don't consider these things in the syllabus, it's going to become very, very difficult for you. So like things like this. Now what happens? You have the course outcomes. 1 minute. Okay. Sorry, I had an emergency call. Okay. So now what happens is, this, I'm sure I have given some time also for people to look into it. This chart is very, very important. Somebody is talking about assessment and evaluation. This process mapping, no, when once you start doing it, then things will be very, very clear in your mind. So now what happens? You have a course outcome. Obviously, can you take your course outcomes and do the questions for your continuous internal evaluation? Then can you have all the other things whatever I put, laboratory, self-study, seminars, quiz and test, project work, all these are the experiential learning. So all these things put together is going to become your internal assessment marks. Because what happens is, by and large, when you are assessing the student, according to me, up to this is very, very important for us. If you assess a student through all the modes and methods, whatever I told you, that 50 methods, you can try to put it here. Your internal marks of a student will be very good. Obviously, the effect of this will also be felt in the external marks. So now what happens? I can have a 50% weightage for the internals, 50% weightage for the external examination. And as of now, we are following this in the college because their grade is given based on 50% CE, 50% SCE also. That is semester end examination. So then out of that, direct and indirect assessment, I think this is what is my topic. This becomes a very, very subtopic according to me, even though it has been given as a main topic, because this can be arrived only if all your other processes are right. Otherwise, simply putting in a table, calculating the values, anybody can do it. But at the end of the day, student might not have learned anything. So you can give a weightage for 90% credit to all your tests and assignments and experiential learning. And then indirect assessment is also very important. That means you get a lot of feedback from the people. So it could be a student feedback, it could be a other stakeholders feedback. You can get it at the end of the course. Then for that also give the value. Then it is going to become like say CO attainment, course outcome attainment of every student we can try to calculate. When once you know this, then again program attainment of a program outcome attainment of a student can be made. I hope this chart everybody has understood. This is the crux of your assessment and evaluation. If this percentage of 90%, 10%, 80, 20, 60, 40, you can all decide. There is no hard and fast rule in these things, but everything should have a justification. Your direct assessment should be very good means that means whole of your experiential learning, tests and quizzes should be on a continuous basis. As of now, we are evaluating a student with only one assignment, 2 tests, 2 quizzes. That's all. These are all discrete in nature. In 16 weeks, every week can have one kind of an activity for a student so that my direct assessment becomes very accurate. And if this becomes accurate, then my program outcome a student is going to attain. No, that will also become an accurate. Otherwise, no, what has happened? Based on the formula given by NBA, we are calculating it. But I am not sure that number attainment of a student is 80%. Means still is 80% worth or not, I am not in a position to check that. Because my input, whatever I give the experiential learning part, may not be very exhaustive. When can I do that, then things are going to become very, very easy for assessment and evaluation. According to me, if your whole process is good now, we need not to worry more about assessment and evaluation. But we spend most time on these things because our process has to be streamlined in a better way. So this chart is very, very important. So once you do this, then principles of assessment and evaluation. Very quickly, I'll browse through it. I'm sure somebody would have already covered all these points. The difference between an assessment and an evaluation. Assessment is to increase the quality. Evaluation is to judge the quality. Please remember, these words are very important. Assessment in the sense what? All the experiential learning measures, whatever I told now, if you're going on more, doing more of that, his quality will definitely enhance. When once you do that, then you can evaluate him judge it in a better way. Now, judging is difficult because our assessment, increasing the quality is not very exhaustive. I think if you can understand these two things, the left part of it is totally the quizzes, tests, the learning, experiential learning, whatever you are doing is very important so that your evaluation becomes easier. And you are truly evaluating a student. So assessment is basically an ongoing process. It is a positive reinforcement is going to create. It can be individualized actually, and it also provides feedback to the faculty members whether the student is doing things right or not. Instead of checking only at the final examination, it is always better to look at different points of time during the semester. Then things are going to become very easy. Of course, evaluation is typically, it's a closure, it's a final exam, marks is given. It's again judgmental. Each faculty, the marks may vary from 80 to 90. So it is judgmental. It's applied against standards. I think there is a question paper, there is a scheme. You are going to do everything against standard and it shows the shortfall. So here only a fault finding mechanism. You only try to find out the mistakes he has done rather than appreciating what plus he has done. It's just like student has scored 90 marks, no? So we are more bothered about 10 marks rather than the 90 marks he has scored. Whereas in the assessment, it's not like that. It's totally positive. So if the prior process of assessment is very good, obviously the evaluation process will also be very good. Of course, all these things are evidence driven. We cannot simply straight away take my subjective judgments. Everything should have an evidence in terms of the seminars, and then we should show the student this is where you stand. Then things are going to become very, very easy for you. So there are three types actually in the assessment. Summative assessment is individual learning by the end of the day. That's what I told you. Evaluation is this only. Formative assessment is totally continuous learning process, which is nothing but the assessment itself through your quizzes, tests, and all the other experiential learning methods. Then there is something called as the alternative assessment. What is this? It is different from traditional assessment. Individual performance assessment and skills an individual can implement. This is very important. Are we checking anywhere the skill of a student? That's what is expected. So your student is a part of an innovative club. He has gone for international competition. He has drove a robot. He has participated in a solar car race. These are all the things where you are going to consider this. As of now, it is not considered. All the extracurricular, innovative activities, whatever students are doing, we might not be considering anywhere. So you can also add this component as a part of the experiential learning, so that he has already learned. I'm sure in every college there will be certain percentage of students who are literally waiting, spending more time outside the class than inside the class. And these students are doing very well also many times. But what is the credit we are going to, because his learning is much more there, maybe sometimes in the class. So are we giving importance to that or not? That is typically what is called as the alternate assessment. Of course, I have already told the assessment methods are all your experiential learning methods. And of course, the summative measurement will be straight away quizzes, tests, and the examinations. But the other assessment would be related to whole of your experiential mapping, whatever you talk about. I think I've already told in terms of the experiential learning. Then if you look into the performance criteria based performance evaluation, of course, then you can try to find out the totally. I have done quiz, I have done test, then I have done all the experiential learning, I have done the final examination, then I can look into the course outcome attainment of a student. That is possible when only a whole process is carried out. As of now, this has become only a tabular column exercise, but real intention, if you want to enhance the course attainment of a student, then lot of preliminary work has to be done for student learning. Then things are going to become very easy. So this normative measurement, what we are talking about, this normative measurement, what we talk about is a relative grading. See, typically what happens is many institutions follow absolute grading. That means individually whatever he does, only that you are going to evaluate. But relative grading is with respect to the others, how he is going to evaluate. I am sure some of the institutions are following this relative grading also. So this is again other norm referenced kind of an assessment. There is a benchmark which is set. Whoever is the best in the class will get the highest grade. With respect to him, how others are doing, you are going to do it. So these are all the, so I think 1 minute. Yeah. So criterion referenced assessment and the norm referenced assessment are these two categories, which is under the alternate assessment methods. Then comes the types of assessments, like then comes the evaluation. I think we are always bothered about this evaluation, no? So what is this evaluation all about? So it is a judgment about something or someone to learn about their abilities or skills or qualities. So this is an outcome of your valuation work, no? Whatever you do of the examination is typically what is an evaluation process. So unlike assessment, the result of does not provide constructive feedback, but it passes only the judgment. You have scored 80 marks out of 100 marks. Okay, these are the mistakes. Only these things you are going to get in the evaluation process. Whereas in assessment, there is a time, space for you to give your feedback also. This is another important thing. So what is this feedback all about? See, feedback is typically identifying students' good or bad performance. So can you, feedback is always very important. Let me tell you, what cannot be measured cannot be improved. Feedback is one of the measurement systems or a metrics which every one of us have to accept. If let us say group of students in your class say that you have to improve teaching, obviously you have to improve teaching. Somebody says we did not understand the concepts very well. Obviously, it may be true. So let us take the feedback in a positive sense. Don't take it as a negative way. Because if you take it in a negative way, we don't improve. If you take it in a positive way, personally also we will develop. Then the students will also have a good learning exercise. So this is how feedback is a very, very important feature when once the assessment and evaluation are done. It is the again the opinion of the people who give the feedbacks, but we should not worry about if it's really a true feedback. It's always better for you to take these things. Then why feedback? I think you know, I've already told you. Clarifies what is a good performance, facilitates to develop self-assessment practice in students, delivers unambiguous information to students about their learning, encourages course teachers and students to involve in peer dialogue around learning. See, you can ask a student, hey, tell me, how was my class yesterday? So he will give you a truth feedback actually. In fact, that will be helpful. In fact, early part of my career, I was doing this. I used to always ask every week once, I used to call randomly students and find out from them, ask them only, hey, what way I should improve. I will tell you, they are the best judges. So we should not take it as a negative thing. You take it and the growth becomes very, very easy for you. So like this feedback is one important thing after assessment and evaluation, because the next set of assessments and evaluation will be very much helpful to you. So then quickly, finally, an example I would like to give here, that whatever I explained now would be done to, of course, all of you would have done this for the NBA. I leave these slides with Murthy. I'll send it to him. You can all use this wherever you want it. One is called the program articulation matrix. Other is called the course articulation matrix. So first you take the course. Let us say there is a course on course outcomes. Course computer organization and architecture. I have given 5 outcomes. I mean 4 outcomes of the course. So then what I will do, I know what are my POs. There are 12 POs and I'm going to map my courses with the POs. That means each course may be giving more than 2 to 3 POs I may meet. So there is no rule that every course should meet all the requirements of all the POs. There is no rule like that. In fact, if that one PO can teach all those things, why to study all the courses? It may not be needed. So in that way, the combination of the courses will help you at the end of 4 years for you to be successful in terms of POs, program outcomes from 1 to 12. Again, what you do is you can go back to the course wise itself. Within this course, you have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. Can you map that with the PO? This is a micro level kind of a mapping. If you can do this, again, you will come to know in this course what is very much essential. So this is what we do. You can give in terms of, let us say, what's the importance of CO1 to PO2 is 1, 2, 3. You can give it. So 1 being the highest, 3 being the lowest, or 3 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. I think it depends on you. This scaling Likert scale, you can take the way you want, but you can define it correctly. So is it compulsory to map all COs to all POs? No, it is not. There's no need, but each CO can meet only few of these COs. At the end of all the 40 or 50 courses, whatever they learn, if they're in a position to learn all POs, that the purpose of education would be served. So this is a NBA document. As you know, attainment of the course outcome is the one which they generally ask. So 3.2.1 is what? Describe the assessment process, use it to gather data upon which the evaluation of course outcome is based. So I told you, I've given much more than this. Your direct assessment tools and the indirect assessment tools. In the direct assessment, is not just the quiz and the test, other 50 I have given. You can take all those things along with your semester end examination. That will be the direct assessment tools, and indirect assessment tools will be all your feedback, and try to add value to that will be very much helpful. Then record all the course outcomes. So as I've already told you, it could be 20-20, 80-20 or 90-10, 70-30. You please, you can do the way you want. So then what happens? Course to course outcome to course attainment, CO-PO mapping to PO attainment. If you can do for every course like this, and then see how we have attained this using your assessment tools or the evaluation tools, then finally course attainment has to be in the form of a number only. I think as of now, numbers are the one which you have to look at. So finally, the numbers, how do you convert, depends on what
something for you. Let me go to the Google Studio.
So this is the way it is. I will not go into details of these tables. Okay, there's a quiz and a test. Maximum marks in Q1 and test 1 is, let us say, 15 marks is the quiz, and the 1, 2, 3, 4. The importance of that of each of the question has been given there as 1, 2, 3. Then mapping with the continuous internal evaluation 1. Mapping with continuous internal evaluation 2, mapping with continuous internal evaluation 3. In the quiz you do, in the test you do it. I think this mapping is going to provide you a pattern which you have to set a question paper, no? So that you try to cover all the things whatever you expect in a particular course. Similarly, you can do the, now what happens, I did the first mapping. Next is the marks. Each student is going to score a marks in the quiz and the test. Then each student wise, I can try to know what is the CIE marks he has scored against what I am supposed to get. Then you will have a rubrics. The total marks is 60. CO2 is CO1 is 60, CO2 is 50, CO3 is 45, CO4 is 45. Again, total marks. Then against all these things of a project, I think this is given for an assignment or a project for over a period of 100%. Then in the first phase you evaluate something, second phase you evaluate something, then finally you can do the mapping correctly. So then attainment level 1 would be 60% and above students. Attainment level 2, this is given in NBA document anyway. We can take it as a reference, but over a period of time, we can go on improving also this, so that your attainments will also be good. So measuring the CO attainment internal marks attainments has been done here. Then similarly, the external assignments, whatever is given to a student's attainment levels have been done. Then similar to this, we have done CO attainment internal plus external. So we have done this again. So these are all the simple calculations. So when once you do this, then you come back to again program outcomes on the program specific outcomes. Then again you have the direct assessment tools. So I did all the course outcomes. Then I'm going to go for a PO attainment, which is 80% and 20%. So like this, I do the course outcomes against the PO outcomes. Similar to the way I did for my course outcome, individual for the test and the internals and the marks, I can do course wise also. For all the course, when once you do it, put it in this diagram, then it's going to become a course wise PO attainment. These are the formats. I'm going to leave all those things. If somebody is interested to learn more, I think we can definitely help you in this area. In fact, in Karnataka, we are mentoring almost around 11 institutions for NBA. So I think as a part of that, we have been doing this exercise on a continuous basis. These are some of the formats you're supposed to know. Then course-wise PO attainment. Each course, how much is the course attainment he has done up to the POs of 12 POs you take for all the courses, whatever is studied by a student. Then direct assessment is how much? Then the indirect assessment through alumni, employer, and student exit forums. You try to put it in that. And totally you are going to get the final, let us say, course-wise and also program outcome attainment of each student you are supposed to get it. You are going to get that. So that means on a 3 scale, one is 2.66. You are meeting for PO 11. But some things are less here. Now what happens here, if I take care of this particular chart, I'll come to know that where I had to improve, where is the least which is there. So 1.52 is the least. You know what is 1.52? This PO is I'm solving a complex problem. That means we are not emphasizing more on solving a complex problem in our studies, in whatever we are doing. So through this, I will come to know when I do the next syllabus revision or when I do the next class when I take, I can try to improve upon that. So then each faculty is supposed to have all these things on a continuous basis, like say syllabus, lesson plan, student list, laboratory experiments with rubrics and CO mapping, then learning material, assignments, tutorials, marks, experiential learning rubrics, model question papers, results analysis, course and survey and inference, mapping of COs with POs, courses with POs, action plan and the justification, meeting your targets versus the attainment levels. So this is a continuous process. If you can try to do this for 3 years, I'm sure that you will understand what is the meaning of experiential learning and all those things. This is the one which you have done, let us say, for last 3 years in a particular CO PO mapping we have done for lectures, quizzes and tests. versus the POs, this is how you can map the things. So if you find there is any improvement which have to be made over this, you can always try to make over this. So I have given the overall picture of starting from your outcome-based education till your total attainment up to the PO. Assessment and evaluation is a part of this. Don't consider this as a separate entity. If you consider this as a separate entity, then we'll be going on doing the same mistakes what we are doing previously. But starting till the end, if you take it as a total exercise, then the student learning will be good. Your assessment and evaluation will also be very good. So finally with this, my last slide is understanding the dynamic changes of the industry and the society is very important for the better learning. Planning and implementation of outcome-based education in letter and spirit is essential. It is not that when NBA committee comes, I want to show, I will do it, but on a continuous basis, we are supposed to do this so that after some years, I think there is a lot of value in this outcome-based education, what we talk about. Involving students in experiential learning is important for better employment opportunities and also higher studies. Assessment and evaluation are key to measure student performance on a continuous basis rather than a discrete point of time. Institutionalizing the mapping process so that all are on the same plane of reference is a time-consuming process. Every faculty has to do this means it needs a lot of group discussions, brainstorming sessions. At the end of the day, willingness to change becomes very, very important so that holistically we can understand our outcome-based education system. Assessment, evaluation, feedback is a part of the overall outcome-based education. Don't treat it as separately. If you put it as an integral part of that, then I think according to me, assessment should not take much time according to me. It should be very, very easy so that you need not to worry about the feedback. If all your initial processes are right, automatically you'll get a very good feedback. So with this, I am going to stop my speech and now I open for some time on the question and answers. So let me thank the college for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts. And if anybody is needing more kind of such exercises, I think you can write to us so that we will be in a position to help all of you. So this is my lecture. I think now it is open for question answers. Let me check in the chat.